The killing machine under his command was supposed to finish the job in Yemen within weeks in its first cross-border military invasion. But the crucially important conflict initially underreported across the mainstream media is now turned into a litmus test for the Saudi regime's real potency and might. What was initially trumpeted as a quick and decisive storm is now turned into a military and political fiasco for the House of Saud, and is branded as a strategic blunder for the regime. Bin Salman is no closer to reaching his goals. He has bitten off more than he could chew.
Seems to be their defeat is clear in when Ansarullah, the Houthi and Yemeni army every day, every week are bringing new operation to the battlefield, are upgrading their weapons, upgrading their missiles, and I'm sure that the war in Yemen, it will be the end of this, the beginning of the end of the Saudi royal family.
It was just last year when Washington's policy towards Saudi was bluntly declared by the US president. Pay up, you won't last without our help.
And how about our military deals where we protect rich nations and we don't get reimbursed? How about that stuff? That's changing too, folks. We protect Saudi Arabia. Would you say they're rich? And I love the king, King Solomon, but I said, King, we're protecting you. You might not be there for 2 weeks without us. You have to pay for your military.
I believe this is a stupid war. I think this war is against the interests of Saudi Arabia and the Emirates and of the people of Yemen. This is UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres' assessment about Saudi and its allies' policies in the Yemen war after 4 years of war on the Arab world's poorest nation. The adventurism was initially codenamed Operation Decisive Storm, and as time passed, the invaders' hopes of triumph started to vanish. They rebranded the miscalculated move as Operation Restoring Hope. It seems now that playtime is over for the Saudi royal boy, and his regime now tastes the bitterness of humiliation right at its doorsteps.
We have seen the latest attack on one of the largest military bases in Yemen, which is under the control of the Saudi-led coalition. Ansarullah, the Houthi drone unit, has targeted with the drone called Qasif 2K, targeted the high top commander of the Saudi-backed forces in Yemen.
Since Mohammed bin Salman, Saudi Arabia's hyperactive crown prince, took power, reports of Saudi failures in almost every domestic and foreign policy are growing. What was called economic reforms has now practically stalled, and the hyped political and social transformations are now proven to be superficial changes aimed at helping bin Salman consolidate power. Dissident Saudi royals are now publicly calling for bin Salman's ouster, and even Western intelligence agencies warn of the threat the favorite son of the aging King Salman could pose to international peace. The House of Saud is losing its grip, and who can deny that the war on Yemen is acting as a catalyst to the total entropy? Calculations, Saudis and their allies, particularly the United Arab Emirates, simply neglected an important dimension of the war on Yemen: the costs. Other than a dramatic increase in the volume of military spending, a drop in investment has also inflicted a heavy blow on the region as a whole. Saudi Arabia bears the brunt of the cost of the war in Yemen. This comes in light of the drop in oil prices and the increase in arms expenditures. Maybe that is the main reason behind the fact that Riyadh's budget for 2019 sees military spending fall for the first time since the kingdom's invasion on Yemen in 2015. Saudi Arabia expects a budget deficit of 201 billion riyals or $35 billion in 2019, 4% below that of 2018, which reached 195 billion riyals or $52 billion. It was back in 2017 when news suggested that during a private meeting and in reaction to the Republicans who protested Trump for boosting the United States' relations with Saudi Arabia, that Trump said that Saudi Arabia is just like a milk cow and asserted we will slaughter it when its milk runs out. He later added that Saudi Arabia is an ugly bride who is also rich. Putting Saudi's failed policies in perspective, one can argue that there are some elements of truth behind Trump's undiplomatic assertions about the real nature of the House of Saud in the U.S. Middle Eastern policies.
Their protection, but if you look in terms of dollars, $3 billion, $533 million, $525 million, that's peanuts for you. Should have increased it.
The coalition war cost is not restricted to financial loss. Despite the strict policy of withholding information on the casualties, estimates suggest a heavy toll on the Saudi-led war machine. The war has also seriously jeopardized the regime's stability, and the world is increasingly focusing on the repercussions of the war and how the conflict is getting out of Saudi's hands.
After the Saudi launched its war on the 26th of March 2015, Yemeni army and Ansarullah the Houthi has waited 40 days before they launch any attack on Saudi. Abdul Malik al-Houthi, the head of Ansarullah the Houthi, has warned the Saudi and was giving them time to stop the war. But soon after 40 days, Yemeni army, with a matter of hours, have entered south of Saudi Arabia. It could be maybe 40% of the Saudi armored vehicle, of the Saudi strength, has been destroyed in south of Saudi Arabia. And I believe that Yemeni army and Ansar the Houthi can actually, whenever they want, they can go and take Najran in a matter of hours. But still this decision, for some reason that we might not know, has not been taken. And I believe this is one of the strategic step that Yemeni army and Ansarullah the Houthi still has, and they still can do. And I believe that Yemeni army still have a new type of weapons, especially long-range missile, because they have not used all the strength at the beginning of the war. Like the Saudi have used everything, they haven't got anything to bring to the field. But Yemeni army and Ansarullah the Houthi are still have not used one of their top weapons, because if you use everything you have, this means that you cannot surprise your enemy. And the war has been for 4 years, and I believe that the next strategic step will be taken if there is any increase of the Saudi attack on Yemen, especially, for example, if they try to take Hodeidah or to do anything stupid in Yemen.